Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Coffee and Contracts. I'm your host, Rusty Whitten of Carr here in Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm super stoked about today's episode because Abby and I share a lot in common. We do a lot of marketing efforts for a couple of different reasons and a couple of different ways. So I'm excited to have Abby from Brick Designs on the show today. Abby, how are you?
Yay! Thanks for having me, Rusty. I'm good. I'm good now. How are you?
I'm good. It's a beautiful Monday here. This is dropping on Wednesday, recording Monday afternoon, but it's a beautiful day here in Memphis. And
Yeah.
it's kind of nice. We're getting a reprieve from the heat. I was talking to somebody yesterday. It was like, Mother Nature was like, you know what? My bad. It's been a little too hot. Here's a couple of cool days as a penance for my bad behavior.
Let me give you a little break. Let me cool it down a
Yeah.
little
Yeah, because I
bit.
could actually sit outside and read yesterday without like cooking
Yeah.
and then just sweating to death. And here in Memphis, it's just been so stifling hot, and not even the fun kind of hot that makes you want to go sit by the pool. It's just been too hot to be outside. So the last couple of days been pretty nice.
And July and August are always such a tease. You never know what you're going to get. It's either going to be really
Yes.
hot or cold or chilly. It's
Yeah.
just, but when it's
And
perfect, it's
it's been so nice here in the Mid-South. And I know like we still got plenty of heat because down here, like it's hot until like October. And so I
perfect.
know we still got a long runway of heat. So the reprieve has been a breath of fresh air, that's for sure.
Literally.
Yeah, no pun intended, right? So, but I wanted to bring you on here today because I think that there is some great conversation here for what we do, right? I help the doctors find their real estate, open their ideal practice in their ideal location, and then you help on the back half of it, right, with the back of office marketing and that kind of thing. So, tell the people a little bit about Brick Designs, why you started it, and what y'all do.
Yeah. So it's my business partner, Nick, and I. We both came from that agency corporate side of marketing. Big teams, lots of stakeholders, long timelines, layers of processes. And the work was fine, but we just kept running into like this same old pattern where more people that get involved, the more the quality of the final product would kind of slip,
Mm,
right? Not because anything was bad, anyone was like bad at their job or anything like that. It was just more opinions, more review cycles, more protocols. It just adds weight, and
mm,
things get watered down, timelines stretch out, and somewhere in the middle of all that process, the client seems to stop being the center of it and they stop having fun. And honestly,
mm.
like that's the most fun thing to do is when you're working on your brand, your business, your practice. It should feel exciting, I think.
Mm.
So it should be something that you're really proud of. And Nick and I knew we had the experience to do it differently and take that expertise, cut it down, all the noise, especially with AI, bring it
Sure.
directly to small businesses and dental practices that need it and feel the impact. And high quality work, fast turnaround, strong results. That's really what we stand for. And the client gets to be part of the whole thing, which is the fun part. And it's not
Yeah.
just handed a deliverable at the end, right?
Mm.
It's more of that boutique experience that is what Brick was built around. And honestly, watching clients like enjoy building their business and being part of that just like never gets old. So it's
Yeah.
been really fun to start the business. And actually my business partner is my brother. So it's been
I
really
thought
nice
to say,
to get in the family and just kind of
yeah.
like be really passionate about it and trust it entirely. So
I
yeah.
wasn't gonna let you get past that, right? Like I was gonna be like, by the way, her business partner Nick also happens to be her brother, so it's a full family experience with
Yeah,
Brick.
we share the same last name. We're not
Yeah,
married, but we share the same
yeah,
last name. And yeah.
that's hilarious.
So it's fun to
And
have that dynamic. And then along with clients, like it's
Mhm,
the cliche. It feels like a family, but it truly is our
truly,
family. So it is fun
mhm,
to bring that in and kind of fill that hole that we've seen
that's awesome.
over the years in dental specifically. So yeah.
Good for you. That's awesome, especially with like, and I was talking about this with somebody earlier today. Like, you see all these AI images of marketing, like that they all look the exact same. Everybody's doing the same AI. No offense out there, but the same AI slop that they're just throwing out there, throwing together. And it's like, guys, like, you're not creative. Everybody's doing the same thing, right? So
Yep.
then you get that family touch and that designer's touch to make you stand out from all the
Mhm.
other, because you mentioned AI, all the other people that are just like going into Chat GPT and saying, making me a flyer. Instead, you could put that more family, personal touch on some of the designs.
Yeah. And hey, I don't mind it because it gets people in there and like
Right.
gets them creative and publishing or producing different
Mhm,
content. That's great. But then from a designer, perspective, you're also
mhm,
looking at it and being like, oh, like you said, slop. Like there's no
mhm,
hierarchy. It's just kind of like
mm,
a mosh podge. But hey,
yeah,
it's content and it gets people
that's
in
it.
there. So I'm not gonna hate it. I'm gonna hate it
Yeah.
if you paid a professional to do it. And then like
That's where
that's
it's
when I'll
right.
be
Cause
like,
like
No.
I've got a little side company, a little sports media content creation company, and we use ChatGPT for some things. I also
Amazing.
get very proficient in Canva, where I'm like throwing things together because again, everybody's using AI. Like, takes me another maybe 10 minutes in Canva to put something together, but it just is so much cleaner, way less busier, and it
Mhm.
just presents so much better because it has that human touch to it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also, yeah, again, you know your business best. You know what you have to offer. So to be able to have tools that utilize AI, it
Mhm.
is such a value
Mm.
to businesses too that want to open it up. But then, yeah, it depends on what you're wanting. It
Yeah.
depends on the results that you're trying to get delivered. It depends on if you're just wanting content, you just want stuff out there, or what your call to action is, what you're trying to, what the results are meant to be for. So that could
Mhm.
come in from different angles or different approaches. But yeah, that's when the professionals typically can add a little bit more value there. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So let's start here. So this podcast is designed to help medical practitioners, dental practitioners that are opening or launching their own practice. A lot of times it's an expansion or it's a new one, but most of the time it's somebody launching their first practice. So if
Yeah.
somebody comes to you and they're like, hey, I want to start with, but I don't know where to start from a logo standpoint, from a branding standpoint. What do those initial conversations look like for somebody looking to launch their own practice?
Yeah, it's a great question. When it comes to when you're scratch brand new, right? First, you need as simple as you need your name. And
Mhm.
once you have your name, that bleeds into your logo, that bleeds into your colors, your fonts, all this stuff that's going to be we call it your brand identity, right? That's going
Mm.
to identify who you are. And the reason it's so important to identify that in the beginning is because what falls afterwards when your things start moving really fast, right? There's like this
Mhm.
lull time that you're just kind of like waiting for the loans, you're waiting for the real estate to go through, like you're kind of in that lull. If you can lock in those decisions then, now when the website starts coming into play, when the signage comes into play, when you want to start doing appointment card, business cards, you start seeing patients, communicating with patients, you already have that standardized in the beginning. And the reason that's really important, typically people are like design.
Yeah.
Design's kind of a luxury, right? Design is communication. It's how you guide people through an experience so that they
Mm.
understand what you do, why they need you as the expert, what to do next. When you think about it that way, it's really
Mhm.
everywhere.
Mm.
So identifying that in the beginning helps everything that follows afterward not be so chaotic and gives you kind of control of your voice, your tone, but also what you are and who you like. Most likely, if you're a dentist, there's going to be someone down the road, right? And on the corner, they might be, if you're picking blues, they have blues. Like, how do you stand out against them? You're going to all have a lobby. You're all going to have operatories. Like, why you, right? And it's not about tricking your audience. It's about actually understanding your story and guiding them through that so they can connect with you, just like relationships. Like, who you like, who you connect with. And when they're finding their provider that they want to trust and keep, they're looking for those. And if you can tell your story, if you can identify your brand, your tone, your colors, it seems like,
Mhm.
oh, but the consistency helps people identify who you are just
Yeah.
by a simple post, just by a simple conversation. All of these are factors into a brand, and which is an experience.
Yeah, I
And
want to
that,
I want to circle back real quick to something you said because I don't want to lose it because
yeah,
like you said it so well. Like your logo and your brand is communication. Like a lot of times the first communication you have with a patient or a client is not necessarily on the phone or if they fill out a contact form on your website, it's them looking at a brand and a logo that appeals or stands out from the others, right? You know how in marketing there's so many, you spoke on colors, like so many colors mean so many different things in marketing, where like you think of red and yellows, you associate that with food, and like blue and greens are more calming and yellows and reds are more energetic, and there's
yeah,
so many things that come into that. Speak on that a little bit. I love how you phrase that, how your brand and your logo is communication to your clients.
yeah. Think of it this way: when you go into Target, right? I love Target, so I want to say Target.
Mm.
I don't know if you have to bleep that out, but sorry,
No,
Target.
no, all good. No, listen, Target and Target math is a real thing. I deal with that all the time.
Well, when you walk into a Target, no matter where you're at, it's the same experience. You
Mhm.
know how to navigate through that store, right? You know where to find groceries. You know where to find outdoor gear. You know where to find your electronics. Like it's a natural instinct. That is design. That is the way they're communicating. That is the way you're experiencing the store. And if you go on their website, you're looking at their departments, you know how to navigate to find products and to get things. That is the exact same thing of flow and experience. That is all intentional. It is designed. Or if you think of my brother / business partner, we always, it's funny, there's an intersection down the road from us. And whenever we're on the road and we have to get off on this exit, there's like 10 signs that it's like one way, don't go here. Like, and the reason they have to have all those signs is because it's poor design, right? Like if you don't know where to naturally go, that's bad design. And the signs technically are also a design, but that's more, it's more of the face behind everything that's actually operating in the back end, right? So that's why we're very big on our back office side of things, because that's how actually everything operates. The face, the logo is how they see you, but how they experience you, that is actually intentional design. So that is a form of communication. So when you think of dental practice, like you said, when you're online, you're on the website, Google is huge, right? That design starts online. So they're going to look you up. They might hear from you from a friend, family. They might see a sign passing by on the road. They look you up, they check your Google page. They then look at your social media to see if that's the vibe they want. They want to see if there's a connection there. If they act on your Google page and call you and the phone doesn't work, right? Or if they go to schedule online, you have an online scheduler and there's some kind of barrier, it doesn't click all the way through. It's not the experience they were expecting. They give up and they move on because we have low attention spans. We're just moving on. It's this high pressure of everything has to connect and be right, because otherwise they get an icky feeling. They can't describe it. They just know it's wrong and they don't like it. So they move on. And then when they go to your website, that's the same thing too. They're researching you. They're identifying if you're the right one. Then they go into your practice. They experience your practice. This is all intentional design. This is all part of an experience that's happening. It's not just the colors and the logo it looks, that's the face, right? It's how they're actually interacting with your brand. That is your brand. And that is the storytelling of all of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Because back when I was in the clinic, we were big on, when I was a clinician prior to this role, we were big on the warm welcome. And so it's almost like your brand and your website and your color scheme is kind of the warm welcome, like that soft introduction to where you're to see if you're going to hook the client or the patient to reach out to see if they want to come and see your schedule or come and see you and get scheduled. And so things like your brand, logos, colors, and website is huge. But then you're right. Like, this day and age, more and more people are going to social media for their marketing, right? Like how many local Facebook groups are you a part of for like the communities you live in, and people pop in there, hey, who's the dentist that everybody sees, or which chiropractor do you use, or where do you get your groceries at? So people are asking those questions. And if you don't have that good community feel, that online presence, you're missing half of what you could be doing from a business standpoint, because so many people, like everything for a long time was, it was Ask Jeeves back in the day, but I'm sure you're a lot younger than me, but Ask Jeeves and then Bing and then Google, like, just Google it now. But now it's going more and more to where like we're getting away from even Google and going towards things like Facebook searches and TikTok and Instagram. So if you don't have a social media presence, you're leaving so much money at the door, because people are going to look to, and if they see you doing these silly reels and trends and these connection type things, that might be the exact vibe that they're looking for. And you could be leaving patients in the community that you're not even touching.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's really important too. Like I love, you don't have to be an influencer by any means. You can dance, you can do these things, but it's like, be true to yourself, because when it's genuine, people feel that they understand it, and they're seeing a lot of slop and stuff out there. So if you take a step back and you actually work with some kind of partner that's really identifying, like, who are you? What do you want to stand for? What kind of patients do you want to attract? What's your story? Like, and yeah, it might be repetitive to the same person down the road, but there's a reason you got into dentistry. There's a reason that you're practicing and you opened a practice versus working at a different, like whether that's DSOs or working at a different company. There's a reason that you chose to open your practice. What is that? And sometimes it's like, well, yeah, I wanted to be able to be financially free, or I wanted to be able to be with my family. Those are all okay. Like that's not a bad thing. That's relatable, right? So it's figuring out how to pivot that, how to tell the story, but then also it's understanding I love Story Brand by Donald Miller. I feel like I talk about way too much, but I do. I love his ideology for marketing. And it's more of there's the hero, like in Star Wars, right? Like there's your hero and there's your guide. So like, how are they guiding you to be the hero? A lot of times, practice owners see themselves as the hero and they're not. The patients are the hero. So how are you guiding the patient to their best smile, their healthy smile, whatever their goal is? How are you attributing to that? And even taking a step back to say, like, what do I want to do more of? What services do I want to offer? I want to do more full mouth. I want to do just bread and butter. I want to, like, I love that.
Yeah.
Great. Identify that. Let's talk to that audience. Let's connect with them in some way and be yourself and figure out what your story is. And when it comes to social media and everything like that, it's just being vulnerable and doing it. The hardest part is doing it. It really is.
Yeah. And that's why branding goes so far beyond a logo, right? Like we've mentioned logo maybe twice here, but there's so much more depth to building a brand, because you're trying to establish yourself not only as a subject matter expert. Obviously, you know what you're doing. You went to dental school to be a dentist, and so you understand how to care for patients. But then what does that brand look like in the community? To your point, what specific offerings do you want? What specific type of dental care? But then who are your specific clients? Or if, your website and your brandings will look way different if you're a pediatric dentist versus a general dentist versus a periodontist and stuff. So there's some things with some overlap there, but you want to make it be your branding to be specific to who you want to become, and not like, oh, I just want to be a dentist and open a practice. But I'm a big, you talk about Donald Miller, I'm a huge Stephen Covey guy. And I'm a big believer in beginning with the end in mind. Where do you see yourself? Like, what is at the end of your dental practice? Where do you see yourself as a dentist, right? Like, is it, a big community? Is it a regional DSO where you have multiple practices, or you just want to be really good in one practice, treating kids, doing X, Y, Z, whatever that looks like. If you have that picture, we can build the roadmap to get there, but understanding where you're going helps you start branding the appropriate way right when you launch.
Yes. 1,000% agree with all that. See the end of it, and don't be afraid to go for it and communicate it and try to find a way. Because even when it comes to patients, like you were saying, who is your audience? Like who do you want to have more of? If you're pediatric or specialist, maybe it's your referring doctors, but it's also like you're at your job 80%, sometimes 50% of your life, right? So,
especially when you're first starting out, like you're going to be busy. Like there's a grind to starting your own practice.
That's it. You're going after it. And it's like, well, if you're going to be there so much, not only pick the right team players to be with every day, to trust your dream to like become a reality, as cliche as that sounds, but it's true. But it's also the patients. Like, what type of patients do you want to attract? It's so easy to, and hey, especially when you're starting out, when you're a scratch new business, you can't be picky. You're getting patients, you're figuring it out. I get it. Like, you have to do what you got to do. But as you get more established, it is okay to start getting picky, start understanding the cases you want to do, the patients you want to see. I want patients that are in this age range, that have these values, and that are going to appreciate the time I take with them. Or I want busy people. I want to make sure they come in and out and they appreciate efficiency. All of those are helpful indicators, but to understand like who you want to work with, who you want to attract. And that can all be part of your messaging. That can all be part of like your audience that you're helping identify, but also who the people you're spending time with, right? Like most people don't want price shoppers. They don't want people that aren't going to be loyal. And it's not always just like a generational thing. It's typically just if you're selling yourself as convenience and quick, and like, you're giving a new patient special and that's the first thing people see, and that is the focus, that is the audience you're attracting, or that is what you're telling them is a value at your practice, which is okay. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. That's just what is going to be coming in. So when you think of who you want to work with, what you want to stand for, these are all great ways to really understand who your audience is and how to craft that messaging, how to craft that brand, and that overall story, and then build systems and processes behind it to support it.
Because you don't think about it. Like, you always think about external customers. Like, who do I want to attract from a client, from a patient standpoint? Like, what patients do I want to work with? But your branding and who you are and the business you're building also has to reflect positively to your internal customers, meaning your staff and your hygienists and your front desk and your billing office coordinators and whoever you hire, whether you're a cosmetic or a general or a pediatric. You have to be able to brand both externally to the community, and to your point, you nailed it, internally as well, because like, you're going to be working with these people 30 to 40 to 50, 60 hours a week sometimes, right? There's going to be some grind. Again, we're starting a private practice. We all understand what the grind looks like and in those early days. So having a brand that attracts the right people, not only for you to serve, but to serve alongside is how you set yourself up for success. And those conversations start early with somebody like you to help build that full picture, correct?
Yeah, correct. And when it comes to your team, like you said, like it's also, I don't know if you hear this, but I get a lot of like, especially nowadays in dental, like there's a lot of turnover, right? There's a lot of loyalty that's happening with just the teams, but it's like, how do we not only pick the right team that we want, how do we keep them? And that's the same with patients. I think there's that's kind of the biggest miss in dentistry is like the focus or even the conversation of marketing. It's always new. And it's like, I always challenge people to shift and think like, how do you retain, right? We talk about designing that experience and how you keep them. So they kind of go hand in hand. When you retain patients, you retain team, because you're also, it's all the values that you stand on, as well as the systems and processes. So it's building, what do I want to say? Like,
rapport and connection and community with your clients and your team.
Yeah. And that all comes from systems, right? Yeah. So like we go in and we look at auditing your existing softwares, right? Because yes, you're getting new patients. Yes, your marketing surface level is working, right? But then you're like, I'm still not growing. I'm still not producing. I'm still not making what I thought. The ROI is not there. Like, right. There's something bleeding. There's holes there. Like so we go in and we look at what the holes are first. So we know what to patch or build off of. AKA brick by brick, right? Build your practice. So
that's so good. That's so good.
But without the C, no, because we're cool.
Because we're trendy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we're trendy, and 4 letters make a difference. Psychology.
Yeah.
But point being, we do this audit, and we go in and we look at the systems that they currently are paying for, and when you look at that and how they're connecting, so. For about 13 years now, I've worked in communication softwares, existing patient base. What is going on with your existing patients? How do we leverage that? So when you're not just looking at new, you're spending all this money, time, energy into new patients. How are you keeping them? And on top of that, how are you getting the best value out of softwares and systems that you're already paying for? I always hear like, these systems don't work, right? Like this isn't how it. I challenge you to say like, it's probably not the system, it's how you're using the system, right? So we usually go in there and we see like recall, reactivation campaigns, treatment plan follow-up. We look at appointment reminders always turned on, post-op instructions sometimes are turned on, reactivation, recall, treatment plan follow-up turned off, welcome new patient might be turned on. And that's because these are low friction conversations. We're not asking for money. We're not asking, right? That one patient calls out of 4,000 patients says like, oh, I'm frustrated. What you just called me and told me I'm due for an appointment, and they turn it off. Well, industry typically finds 30% of the software is being used. I personally find less than 15% of the software is used. So you go in and you look and you see what all's turned off. Yeah, the software's not working. But are you communicating your goals to your team? Are you telling them why it's important? Do you understand what you want out of that system and software? Why did you get it in the first place? All of this is going to help retain the patients, but also the team to understand what your goals are and let them be part of, part of the growth and part of that experience. So that is all a marketing problem in and of itself. If something's bleeding and we're not able to connect the dots, that's just kind of how it all thrives together, whether that's patients or your existing team.
And that's what like systems are so key, because at some point your practice is going to shift from needing to attract a whole bunch of new patients. Because when you first open your doors, to your point, you can't be picky. You take who comes in, you're trying to attract patients. Well, at some point it has to shift where you're building these long-term retainers, because you're going to like the opportunity to build your practice and solidify yourself as a community pillar and be the provider of choice in your community is your ability to retain hypothetical Mary, Tom, and Ralph to come for their dental needs for the rest of their life. So you got to have systems and ways to build that rapport with them, to get them to keep coming back. Otherwise, just like when you're hiring people, it's always so much more expensive to hire new help than it is to retain current staff. It's
Yes.
always so much more expensive to pay for SEO and social media platform boosts and campaigns. That's the word I was trying to get to. I'm like, what's the C word? It's campaigns. Like, to pay for all these things to bring in new patients is infinitely more expensive than being really good at what you do in the office. And then those communication touch points for those reminders of treatment plans, for follow-ups, for missed appointments, for future appointments, for other service lines. Hey, by the way, if you ever thought about having your teeth whitened, or do you need Invisalign? Like, we also offer those things here as well. But that's so much more cost effective in the long run than constantly turning that motor to try and bring in new patients. Now, again, early on, you need to do that. But to your point, what systems are you building out of that to where you can establish yourself as the provider of choice, and you're not exhausting yourself, posting all, and again, you're going to post to social media, but it's different when it's like providing information and keeping patients versus trying to bring in new ones. You're just going to wear yourself out. What systems are you building? And maybe you can speak to that. What systems you have seen that work to retain those patients, so you can turn down that dial of trying to attract new patients while turning up the one that keeps patients coming back.
Yeah, exactly. When it comes to like what we've seen there, it really, it's identifying, every practice is different, but yet the same, right? There's the same pain points, but looking at, I always like to look at like the doctor schedule and the hygiene schedule. So they're like, I need more new patients. I need more of what though? Is your hygiene schedule booked out? Is your doctor schedule booked out? Right. And then what could be happening of why they're not following through? Is it, you've got to put your patient hat on and think like, if I were a patient sitting in the chair, what would I be experiencing? Because you're saying the same thing over and over again. So you feel like it's redundant. Trust me, I get it. Like sometimes I leave out things, right? But that's why the systems there help build, like help you and your team stay consistent. So what I mean by that is, for instance, let's say your treatment or your treatment's low. Let's say doctor's low. Well, let's look at your treatment acceptance. Okay. And on that, let's look at how you're presenting treatment. Who's presenting treatment? Are you? Is somebody else in the office? Is it handed off to another team member when it comes to financials? How are they delivering that information? Do they have any handouts to take home? Because the patient might be thinking a million different things. Their kids at school, they got to pick them up and they're just nodding along, but they're not listening, right? They catch a few things. Oh, they heard the dollar amount. They heard that one. And then they didn't hear the rest of like why it's important, or, why they'll spend more money if they don't get it fixed now or what have you. So the delivery, the conversation, the sale points. I mean, honestly, what is your sales process to get them to close? And if they don't close in that, what happens? What's the follow-up? Do you have treatment plan follow-up, emails, text messages? Is that within your software that exists? Is it manual for the team to know? And does the team know that that's their responsibility? And if it falls through the cracks and there's a low percentage, whose responsibility is it? Not to smack someone's hand and say like, you're doing it. It's to build people up, really. Like, here's a goal. Here's what we expect of you. This is what. Or do we have to get you into more classes to make you more? Is this what you want, right? Do we need to find somebody else? Like making sure those processes are not only communicated, but then documented. Because when you're actually holding people accountable, when you're having those, like 30-day check-ins, 90-day check-ins, whatever, annual check-ins, you're actually saying like, hey, these are your strengths, these are your weaknesses. But then the delivery is one thing with the team, holding them accountable, giving them the systems that they need to be able to hold them accountable and give them the resources they need to be able to execute a sale, right? And to document the sale and like what they're closing, what they're bringing in, all that matters and adds value to them. Both of you should be transparent about it, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the other level of the patient, right? Like, are they, so it's journey mapping is what we call it, right? So you're mapping out the experience that your team is having, and you're mapping out what the experience the patient is having. Is it aligning? Is it consistent? Does it working together? And are there any gaps that we have to patch up and make better? That's when you really can identify what's going on. And then and consistency is how you track and make sure what's working or not. It's not a silver bullet. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to track it. You have to try it. You have to give it some time to develop and breathe. Because especially when presenting, people are going to get better over time. You've got to give them that time to do it. And you look at it 90 days up, if you're being consistent about the process, you're documenting it, you're tracking it, you're seeing what's working, now you can refine it. Or when you talk about scaling and going to more locations, now you've got systems. Now you're the target that knows exactly your layout, you know exactly the handoff. It's a business in that aspect. That's design, right? So it's all navigating that experience and strengthening the process and systems on the back end. So when they experience and they see it in the website, or they're actually, it's working together, right? Like it's all working simultaneously instead of against each other, which is what we see a lot of times.
Right, which makes it very repeatable. To your point about scaling a practice, once you've got those systems nailed down, then just copy and pasting that into another office is so much more feasible, right? Because so many people want to scale and have multiple locations, but they're terrified of what that looks like because they don't have the right systems in place. But if you know, if you've got your business and you know it forward and backwards, you got a marketing plan, you got a branding plan, you got a patient, acquisition plan, you got a patient retention plan, then you have a workflow within the office from day to day. Like once you get all that kind of buttoned up and you get some reps underneath your belt, then you can go and just find the right teammates, and then you can just, hit paste here, and you can put those locations out there and trust that they're going to run because you have the appropriate systems. People are aware of who you are, your message and branding, and they have ease of access to your website, however, to get a hold of you. But just getting that, like, if you don't hear anything else today, there's two things that I'm hearing in this conversation. That's communication is key, both within the team and within the community, and then systems to make sure that your business runs to where if you take your hand off for a week and you go to the beach or you go to the mountains or you take a sabbatical and you just need some PTO time, you can come back and it hasn't missed a beat, right? Because there's nothing worse. I mean, there's always going to be something, right? When you come back from vacation, something's going to, be spinning out of control. But there's nothing worse than coming back and everything's in shambles. So the more you have those systems in place, the easier it is for you to A, step away, and B, repeat that in other offices.
Nailed it. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing I always hear is like, my team won't operate without me. I can't, all the questions keep funneling up to me. I'm exhausted. And again, this is more in that established practice. You're getting ready to level up. And now you're just kind of like, I can't move. I can't take a vacation. That's leadership, that is a part of the system and the processes that you built. But on the bright side, you can build it. It's never too late. That is something that you can work towards and take off, but you have to be the first person to identify it and say, I want to be a stronger leader. I want to delegate to my team. I want to hold the team responsible, and I want to take a break, and I want to expand. And when you talk about selling your practice, when you talk about having other offices in different locations because you know what your unique value proposition is at that point, it's totally achievable. Or you have a selling value because you're like, not only are you getting my patient base, not only are you getting my location, you're also getting my systems. And that typically is the most profitable thing of any business is when you buy a business, it's their systems, their customer base, right? So if you can
That's so good.
Have both, like, why wouldn't you be able to? That's the sweet spot. So, and especially when we work into the world of AI, like we talked about earlier, I hear a lot of times like AI, like, oh, it's not working, or like I used it. It's great for these things, but it's bad at these things. Well, when we talk about like documenting our processes, understanding what they are, even doing like workshops or exercises to understand these simple questions. Like when we go through the auditing, it's always like these light bulb, like no one's asked me that before. It's like, well, it's crazy, but it's true. It's like, this is, but it's understanding, okay, when this happens, what's my protocol? What do I want? Right? Like what I want my team to do X, Y, Z. Who do we want to oversee that? When that's all documented, now you have that language model that AI can read to really, you're crafting a brain. We like to say it's your practice brain. You're crafting the brain. So now it's perfected. And now when you work with AI, you have all the MD files or all your files, briefs, whatever to feed it. So now it's actually giving you real result. It's not hallucinating. If you don't guide it, if you don't direct it, and you don't tell it your background, your goals, your voice, your tone, and really like you use it like an employee, right? Like having that, now you just leveled up another one because now you're automating things because you've already established your systems. Now you're plugging in AI, and it can just read all those documentations, understand who you are, what you stand for, what you want to do, and tell you how to get there and automate a lot of
I
it
think
too.
that's such a great way to look at it because like I use AI day to day a ton, but I've
Mhm.
also trained Chat GPT. It knows exactly who I am. And I can go in and say, hey, for my real estate business or my podcast, my sports content creation business, here's what I need to do. And it understands my processes and what I'm doing. So it's not just throwing, spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks. It's telling me here's some real action points based on what I know about you that could
Mhm.
improve your processes or efficiencies. Otherwise, it's just guessing and pulling from way out in the cloud and everything else, and it doesn't know your specific processes. And so, in a lot of instances, and AI is great. There's a lot of uses for it, but it's more as like a, from what I'm hearing for you, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, more of like a supplement or a guide once you understand who you are and what your processes are. Fair?
Yeah. Yeah, fair, fair. And or it's like it's right, but it's not 100% right. Like I'll just do it. Like, and
Hmm.
I'm seeing less and less Matt because it's getting better and better and better. So people are
Sure.
getting more and more confident. They're getting in there a little bit easier. But no, you're exactly right. It's more of that. Okay, how do I take it to the next level? How do I trust it? It's still hallucinating. It's still coming up with things that aren't 100%
Right.
accurate.
Yes.
And the other element to it is not only building your systems and letting, like being able to kind of feed it that brain and
Hmm.
like help it understand and really get to know you or your business, which sounds creepy, but here we
No,
are.
I mean,
This
it
is the
is what
world
it
we're
is.
in. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the world we're in. But uh, it's also the person behind it, right? So
Mm.
like if which HIPAA, no, I'm not going to go in and like give it patient information. Absolutely not. But you might be in your management software and it has AI integrated in that way, and there's security
Mhm.
proof for it and all that fun
Right.
stuff, right? But as let's say in just like this scenario, just to give an example, as a doctor going in, if I'm using AI for treatment planning, or if I'm using AI to collaborate on what kind of treatment I would diagnose for a patient, I am not a doctor. I would not know what to ask and how to ask it.
Mhm.
But I'd be like, hey, they're experiencing these symptoms. What should I do? It's going to be just like a typical WebMD Google search, like, oh,
Mhm.
you have cancer, you're pregnant. Like it's like one of those two things always, right? So
Right.
if I'm a marketer, it's the same thing. If I go in and prompt AI and educate it and tell it, hey, what's the call to action? What are my buyer personas? Like I can challenge it. I can make it, because that's my background. I know how to challenge it. I know how to read it, double check it, just like I would with an employee, and how to like make sure it's what I want. That's the
Mm.
same. A doctor, you're going to guide it. You're going to be more technical. You're going to tell it more things. So that's going to be able to provide better results.
Mm.
Um, all that to say, there's your language model. That's one part of it, the brain. And then there's also double checking it, reviewing it from your experience, your expertise. So having people
Mhm.
on your team that still can challenge it from their knowledge, their level is always going to be beneficial as well.
Yeah.
But it's getting smarter. It's getting better out there. So it
But
just,
it's never gonna have that full human touch, I hope. Like, if it gets to that point, we might be in some
then,
trouble there,
then it's a
but,
different
like,
conversation. Yeah.
that's a different conversation. Yeah, and I wanna circle back. Again, I really appreciate the time today, and, like, there's obviously so much to unpack here that I think we'll have to do a part 2 in the future
Yeah.
for sure. But, like, when we start, you mentioned the website earlier, and AI kinda plays into this too. When you're building a website, like, what's the balance point between, like, a beautiful website, a functioning website, and then maybe what are some of the things that like you look for in a good website for a client?
Yeah. Great question. Websites, I would say, again, it comes down to that experience. So how you're interacting with it and how to make it easy for your team as well.
Mhm.
Uh, the standard answer that I still truly do believe in is stock photography is still out there. It's still very prevalent in practices. It makes sense. A lot of my startups, we have to use stock photography, and
Sure.
actually, stock photography has gotten so much better. It's not
Mm.
like that blue, clinical, sterile
Mhm.
look. There, especially with AI, we can really
Yeah.
generate some really great photos.
But
But
always
if
count fingers. AI has a hard time with the appropriate number of fingers for humans. Like, that's one thing I've seen. Like,
text,
recently in an office, I saw 7 fingers on one hand, and I was like, "Oh." Anyway, sorry to
red
interrupt.
flag, red flag. But
Yeah.
see, as humans, there's something off. There's something wrong. We
Mhm.
can still, I still think there's a lot of value in professional photography, and it's also a great culture, like team bonding experience, if you will, to just block off a few hours. I mean, even once a year, you can block up a few hours, get a bunch of photos and use those in videos to use on your website. That's going to help tell your story. It's really going to help your marketing team convey and be more genuine and stand out with all of this stuff that's out there. But that's like standard, right? Like photos do make an impact. It does visually change your website. Like whenever somebody shares a website with me, what they like, I always tell them, you realize this is the photography and the videos used on it. It's not necessarily the layout that's being done here. So that has a huge impact instantly. But a big miss that always happens is make sure your call to actions are clear, prominent. You've got like book an appointment. If you want them to book an appointment, make sure your phone number and that button is very clear and it guides them through it the rest of the way. So there's movement. It feels like you're part of that website, like you want to keep scrolling, but you're always navigated and guided to act. And it's easy for them when that moment comes that they want to act. It's easy for them to do. They click on it. It's not broken. It goes to the right person. And the second big thing that is a big miss is how does the follow-up happen? They did their part. They booked. The website worked. Now, what is your team going to do? Is it going to notify your team via email? Does it go into a CRM? How are you tracking those leads? If the team called them one time, is there continual follow-up, or is it just one and done type of thing, right? So when it comes to a website, it not only has to look pretty, only has to have movement. You have to load within a second, 2 seconds. You have to make sure that everything's coming up. But the big thing is the follow-up afterwards. They did their part. How does it, and making sure everything's connected. So if your team is following up, if you have the softwares and systems that are online scheduler, make it easy on your team. Like now you're going to check here and you're going to go there and make sure, did you look in Facebook Messenger and did you look at, let's try to port everything in and make it very easy on your team. So that, because they are usually wearing a lot of hats to, have those conversions go up. But that's the whole point of a website, to experience it, to educate, and then of course to convert. So make sure it's
and like you said, make sure it all comes to the same pot, right? Because if you've got some going to Facebook, some going to your email inbox, some going to the cloud somewhere, you've got to make sure it just goes back to our conversation. Your systems are streamlined so that they're communicating, so people don't get lost in the cloud and in the nether region. Because so many times, like, I always get nervous when I fill out a contact form on an email or on a website. I'm like, I hope it got to the right person. I don't know where it's going. Like some of those generic contacts are great, but you just never know. Because I filled out some of those and I've never heard from people, and I filled out some of those and I've heard from 30 people. So there's like finding ways to make sure it communicates to the right person for the right connection, the right contact is where somebody like Britt can help you get started. Fair?
Exactly. Fair. Yeah, yes. Well said.
So again, thank you so much for your time today. Really, this is fantastic, man. Eye-opening and a great starter conversation. Like, I don't want it to stop here. I want to have you back. Like, this is your formal invite to come back and we can talk about kind of like implementation of some of these systems a bit more. But like, this has just been so good for starting a practice and what to look for from a website marketing standpoint and a systems presence. So as we start to kind of land the plane here, I do have a little bit of a rapid fire section I like to do with folks on the podcast. So give me some quick answers. I want like short answers, and I'm gonna hit you with a few questions. Okay.
Okay, I'll try to be short. Yeah,
that's fine. If you need to explain, that's fine. Like, there's no penalty for going over anything like that, right? I need to start that. I need like a time penalty.
We'll like remove it. You're like, I did invite you to a second one, but now it's done.
So your invite is in a balance here, all right? So
no pressure. Yeah.
All right. So I'm a Canva guy, but are you Canva or Adobe?
Canva, absolutely. We also use Figma, but I say for anybody, everybody should be using Canva. Absolutely. A lot of great templates, a lot of
awesome. Yeah. And if I can figure it out, anybody can figure it out. Like,
it's very easy to use. That's what helps. And again, it helps people design. I'm all for it. So it's a great system. Yeah.
Do you prefer working on a website or social media?
I prefer working on a website because I can control what's going on, but they're both very valuable. But then social media is fun. I can't. That's hard. Social media helps story tell. You have more control on a website. You see results through a website though. So like,
I like that.
I would say website is probably ultimately what it is, but that's hard.
Same question for practice. Better to have a better website or better social media presence?
It depends on where you're at. scratch like brand new social media, because that's how they find you. That's how you're able to build that story. Website for established, because you most likely have more than just patients. You have a community of referring network. You can control the conversions there. So website, booking, all that stuff matters. Scratch new, technically you could have a request online scheduler in your social media and do a lot with your social media page, but the website is really how you control your conversions. So startup, social, established, website. Yeah.
I like that. Enough business talk. We're going to do some fun ones now. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Are you coffee or energy drink?
Oh, coffee.
What's your coffee order?
I love the like cinnamon, honey, shaken espresso type of drink. I like to keep it like kind of simple, like whole milk, cinnamon,
listen,
honey.
I'm a black coffee guy. Like I'm a black coffee or I like an Americano where it's just like hot water and espresso. Like that's all I need.
I'm scared of that. I have too much energy the way it is. I probably shouldn't even have coffee. And that is just, I'll shake. I'll be crazy. Yeah.
Are you a beach or mountain person?
Beach. I lived in South Florida for about 3 years, and I need to go back to Florida. I beach. Love my beaches. Yes.
Nice. What's your perfect Saturday look like?
Ooh, that is a great question.
And maybe like various time of year. So how about a summer Saturday? Like
good.
Like a summer Saturday.
Yeah, summer Saturday. Start like a walk with my dog and like being outside, and then maybe probably going and grabbing a drink with a few friends, being a little social, watching a Yankee game. That would be ideal. And then
watch them lose, right?
What's that?
Watch the Yankees lose, right?
No, absolutely not. They'll win. Lately, maybe, but usually no. We need Judge back really bad, but it's fine. And then, winding down to like staying at home with my dog and watching a movie or something like that. Recap the day.
I like that. Yeah. Solid Saturday. Solid Saturday. Last couple. All right. What gets you through a Monday? What are some things that get you through a Monday?
People. If I can talk to people and just kind of like see that everyone else is going through and just making someone's day or someone making mine, that's, talking to people. Yeah. Getting some inspiration, every time.
That's a good one to end on. That was solid. I don't know that we're going to top that, but people help you through a Monday for inspiration. I love that. Well, Abby, this has been a fantastic conversation. I really appreciate it. Here's your chance. Tell the people where to find you, how to best get in contact with you. I'm going to have your LinkedIn and email in the show description. Perfect. But tell the folks a little bit more about Brick and how they can get to work with you.
Yeah, you can visit our website, brickdesigns.com. It's brick without a C because we were cool, 4 letters, and designs is plural. We actually have what we call a brick down analysis. So if you're curious of where the holes are in your practice, it's completely free of cost. It just helps us assess what's going on and what we would recommend for you, but at least gives you an idea of what's going on. So you can sign up for that on your website, request it. We'll jump on a call, talk about it, and no pressure there. So, brickdesigns.com. And I'm happy to talk through anything with you.
I love it. Well, make sure you follow Abby on LinkedIn. She's on Instagram, all over the place. Make sure you check her out. A lot of cool things coming, a lot of cool things happening with Brick. Thank you again for the time today. This was fantastic. If you're looking to grow your practice, give me a call, reach out to an agent in the Find an Agent below. We can help you with the brick and mortar part of it. And then we can get you in touch with Abby to help grow your dental practice through marketing efforts, the appropriate website. And especially if you don't know where to start with your logo and branding, Abby is a great person to start with to help you grow that and figure that out. So until next time on Coffee and Contracts, we appreciate y'all being here. Y'all go be a friend to somebody who needs a friend. And remember, drink your coffee, protect your profits, and we'll see you back here next time on Coffee and Contracts.